Welcome to the Rap Soul Podcast, where we dive deep into the world of music that moves our hearts and gets our feet tapping. This is the intersection of rap and soul music from the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. We appreciate you for listening. Share this podcast with a friend or family member who loves music as much as you do. The podcast is hosted by 12 Kyle. Next up, the Rap Soul Podcast.
Welcome to another edition of the Rap Soul Podcast. I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Thank you for tuning in. This is the intersection where we talk about rap and soul music, as well as hip-hop and R&B from the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. This is the best music podcast that you've never heard of until right now. Again, I am your boy, 12 Kyle. Thank you for tapping in with us. On this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about something that is, if you are from a certain era, particularly the era that we're from, there was a magazine that was very, very popular in almost every black household. That magazine was called Jet Magazine. And at the back of Jet Magazine, actually one of the first places that I would go look to see what the charts were, they had a music chart, and they had a Jet. It was called Jet Albums and Jet Singles. Well, in this episode, what we're going to do is I have pulled some Jet singles from a specific year. Now, my guest, who's really not a guest, she does not know any of these songs or what we're going to talk about because she's not privy to the list. But I'm going to test her knowledge to see if she remembers the songs. If you are a music and an R&B fan, you may know a few of these songs. I'll be honest, I didn't know all of these songs, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. But before we get it started, I got to introduce my guest. Again, she's no guest. She's been on the flagship station, the 12 Kyle podcast, a gazillion times. She has her own podcast. It's called Jay's Quick 3 from the J Spot Network, the premier JSPN, as I call her. There's not anybody else more knowledgeable about women's basketball, college and pro. None other than JBoog is in the building. Jay, what up?
What is going on? Rap Soul. What do y'all call yourself? Rap Soul, the 12 Kyle Empire family. That's what I'll call it. What's going on? Thanks, Kyle, for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. I told you I'd get you on here. A lot of people don't know. We made an attempt to do this episode before on the flagship station, and I just corrupted the file, I think. I can't remember what happened. But I'm glad to have you on. We talked about having you on the Rap Soul podcast. This is the first and definitely not the last time you'll be back on. But yeah, we wanted to do Jet singles. As many of you know, or maybe you don't know, JBoog is a huge R&B fan. Are you? So I guess before we get started, are you nervous? Are you? How are you feeling going into this? Because I kind of drummed it up a little bit, but I'm not really sure some of these songs that you're going to know, but we'll have a conversation nonetheless.
I'm not nervous unless you make me do a list. That's the only time I get nervous. So I think I was on your podcast before this one when we did you made me make a list of my favorite songs or songs that affected my life during the 80s, 90s, and 2000s. Wasn't that this one or was that your other one?
I think that was the 12 Kyle podcast.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
Yeah,
so this is my first time.
Yeah.
But the only time, I get nervous is not even nervous. It's like you really put my anxiety to the test, because how are you supposed to pick 10 songs from a decade worth of music? It's hard. So now you're just telling me the song. I just have to guess or try to figure it out or tell you if I know it. That's not, I'm not nervous about that.
You know what, Jay, you're right. This isn't your first time. We did do that.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, that was for the Rap Soul. Okay, my bad. So this is not her first time here.
See, Kyle doing so much. He got so many different podcasts and episodes coming out. He don't even know which one.
Listen, Jay, I'll be honest. There are times that I'll come up with an idea in my head and I have to look it up. Like, did I talk about this already?
Well, you've been doing this for what? 10 years almost?
This year will be 10 years in 2020.
That's a lot of episodes. So
yeah, and I'm probably by the time I hit my 10-year anniversary, I'll be right around 700 episodes. So It's been a blessing. I mean, like I had no idea it'd be this far. But the Rap Soul podcast has been dope. Yeah, you've been on here. Britt's been on. And I think that's it. I don't think I've had anybody else. Oh, my man,
you
BZ430.
had Baylor and Dolomite on.
On the Rap
They
Soul?
y'all talked about was it the rap beef or hip hop? Something about y'all listed what episode was that? Y'all listed like top 5 diss songs. Was that on this one?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
See?
You're right.
Look at me. I listen, y'all.
Okay.
I'm not just a guest. I actually listen to this podcast.
You're right. Then that's right. Yeah, that was one of my first episodes on the Rap Soul podcast.
Yep. Because that's when I was like, oh, he got them on and he ain't invited me on yet? Okay, that's what we're doing. Cool, Kyle. Shout out to Baylor and Dolomite.
You know what? No, you know what it is, Jay. I literally, like, between both podcasts, I get confused sometimes. Like, okay, and I literally have to check to see what's what. So yeah, the fellas have been on, you've been on, and of course Britt has been on, and so I definitely got to get more of my people on. But no, this is dope. I've been looking forward to this. So without further ado, let's get into the Jet singles now. We're gonna start at number 20 and then work our way down. So coming in at number 20. Okay, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here. From number 20 to number 11, I'm gonna say that you probably heard 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs. This first one I know that you've heard. This is from a group out of Boston, Massachusetts. Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky. I don't think was Bobby in the group at this time? Bobby might not have been in a group at this time. New Edition, Count Me Out. That was the song that came in at number 20.
Count me out. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah.
What do you remember about Count Me Out?
Count Me Out wasn't as popular as like the Cool It Now and Girlfriend and all that other stuff. So I remember hearing it because I mean stuff came on the radio, right. And then my uncle had, the 45s and the 12-inch singles and the full albums of stuff. So I definitely remember that. I think Bobby was in there.
Okay.
During that time, I think that was still the era when he was there. He didn't leave until what?
He wasn't on the Heartbreak album because he was
Heartbreak.
He was solo there.
Any Heartbreak.
Heartbreak,
he wasn't.
Yeah. So that was
Johnny
88.
Gill was there. Yeah.
That was 88. Okay, so he probably was on Count Me Out.
Yeah, when they grew up to be like teenagers or like going into their 20s, he wasn't there. But yeah, that I don't remember a whole bunch about it, but I remember that song.
Okay. Yeah, Count Me Out.
I can almost remember the video.
You went exactly where I was going. That's what I remember most about this song was the video. It'll never get old seeing those guys, and I tell people all the time, like, New Edition is my Temptations. Like how the Temptations were for the older generation. That's my group, like, that I literally grew up with. Might have been a member at some point in time in my life, at least in my mind. I was like the 7th member of New Edition. But yeah, I love this song. Number 19. Full disclosure, JBoog, I've never heard number 19 until about 5 minutes before we started recording this episode. It is a song called Members Only by Bobby Bland. Do you recall anything, or does that even ring a bell?
Bobby Bland does. Oh, I didn't realize I had this volume on. Let me turn this off. I kept hearing, like, what am I hearing? I remember Bobby Bland, and I remember the Members Only jackets.
Okay.
But is that where that came from?
No. It is actually a song. The song goes, Members Only. It's a private party. No need to money to qualify. Don't bring your checkbook. Bring your broken heart, because it's members only tonight. Say you lost your woman. Say you lost your man. You got problems in your life, where they're throwing a party for the brokenhearted, and it's members only tonight. I've never heard that song before in my life. And I'm like, how is this on the top as she tries to play it? Yeah, you can listen to it. I mean, like I said, I've never heard it before. And the name and the lyrics made it
I ain't
sound,
never heard it.
The name and the lyrics made me feel like it didn't come out in the year that it came out. So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting that, that song actually made the top 20 because
It was 19. It was beating New Edition.
yeah,
Huh.
I never heard it. This one right here, number 18. I know you were around for this. I know you were outside for this. But I'm not sure because I'm not sure how big of a sports fan you were if you heard this. Number 18 was a song performed by a team, the Chicago Bears.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl Shuffle. You remember the Super Bowl
Yeah, the
Shuffle?
Super Bowl Shuffle. Refrigerator and all them. Yeah.
Wow, I am impressed.
Because
man.
I grew up in Benton Harbor, Michigan. Shout out to the BH, which is, everybody knows if you're from Michigan, you'll hold up your hand like this or whatever. I am from, this is Michigan, right? Detroit's over here. I'm from right there. So Indiana's right here. This is Lake Michigan, and then Chicago is right there. So we can, if on a sunny day, we can stand on the Warren Dunes, top of Warren Dunes. You can look straight across the lake, and you can see Chicago, downtown Chicago, the Navy Pier and stuff. So our very small town, super small town, we didn't get we didn't have local stuff. So we got Chicago stuff. So I watched Chicago Bulls. I listened to Chicago radio stations because that's all we can get. We had one local station, but it played soft rock. It wasn't like you could hear anything else. So we listened to WGCI and stuff like that out of Chicago. So yes, any Chicago sports was big in my town. So yes, when Chicago Bears, they won the Super Bowl, right?
Yep,
but I remember the Super Bowl Shuffle being on TV, and it was like a huge thing, and everybody do the Super Bowl Shuffle, however it was. But I remember Refrigerator because I thought his name was really funny. Big guy that played football. But also, I don't know if you remember, it was this show that used to come on HBO called First and 10.
A football show?
It was a show about football, but I think they were guest stars or some. That's how I kind of knew because they either talked about them on that show. I think SNL featured them at one point. Okay. But I remember the Super Bowl Shuffle.
Okay.
Yeah.
You surprised me because I didn't think that you would. So being in Benton Harbor, you're saying you're closer to Chicago than you were Detroit.
2 hours. I mean, you had to drive around the lake.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
2.5 hours to get there, and it's 3.5 hours to get to Detroit. But because we were so close to Chicago, like we got all their, like I said, we got all their radio stations, TV stations, all that stuff. So we didn't really, at least my part of town, didn't really like celebrate Detroit Pistons or anything like that. We were Chicago Bulls and all that other stuff fans. Yeah.
So it wasn't about the Lions. It was about the Bears. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some people did. I mean, some people in our town really rode for like Michigan teams, but most of us that I grew up around, because I wasn't into sports growing up like as a child, but just watching family members, it was Chicago teams.
And that's why I figured that you might not have heard of the Super Bowl Shuffle because, I didn't figure you'd be into football back in the day. But yeah, that's great. I didn't think that you would know that one. But yeah, the Super Bowl Shuffle, for those of you listening, the Super Bowl Shuffle was made by the Chicago Bears football team as they were on their way to their Super Bowl championship. They actually made the song basically saying, we're going to win it all. And they made the song before the playoffs even started. And they dominated all the way to and through the Super Bowl, defeating the New England Patriots in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 20.
Who was Walter Payton? Is that a name?
Yeah. As great as, in my opinion.
Played for Chicago?
In my opinion, the greatest running back I've ever seen.
He's not the refrigerator, though.
No,
They're
no,
two different people.
Refrigerator played on the defensive side, but he also ran the ball.
Those are the two names that I always heard about, Refrigerator and Walter Payton. That's how I know. I don't know nothing about it because I never watched, but those names are stuck in my head. Yeah.
Number 34, his name was Sweetness, and he had that name for a reason because he was sweeping. And as a matter of fact, a Jackson State alum. He's
Really?
HBCU, yeah, one of the best to ever play in HBCU football. So yeah, Super Bowl Shuffle coming in at number 17. Excuse me, number 18. Number 17, I know she knows the song "Sweetest Taboo." The artist Sade.
Of course.
I don't know any young boy that came up in this time, myself included, that didn't have a crush on Sade. What do you remember about this song, "Sweetest Taboo"?
The commercial, the video. I think the video, if I'm not mistaken, if this is the one where she's like, I don't know why, but she's like in a room where there's a window and there's like lightning and it's just raining and she's looking out of it. But they don't do anything else. That's just her doing that most of the video, and then the rest of it is like performative. But I just remember the video being dark, if that's the same one. Her hair was in a bun.
I have not seen that video in years.
But yeah, I remember, I mean, almost every song that came out by Sade back then was something that I listened. That was my first artist that I actually was introduced to. So when she came out with Paradise, so Sweetest Taboo was a jam. And like I said, I remember the video. It was on Video Soul and stuff like that. I do remember that.
No question.
But that was just, that was an early memory. My uncle was in love with Sade, and that's how I knew who that was.
Every black man was back in the day. You had to be. She was just dope. And even like now, she didn't do much media. I think I may have been in high school, maybe even college by the time I first heard her say something. She was like on Soul Train, and they interviewed, Don Cornelius interviewed her for like 2 seconds. And I was like, damn, that's what she sounds like? Because I had never heard her voice.
I was right.
Like now.
I was right.
Is that the video? Okay.
Except it's not raining, but she is standing at a window.
Is she on a
The horse
horse?
the horse is not Ordinary Love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I get them confused. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing I remember about that video was the drum and the song. That drum that starts. Yep. I love that drum.
Yeah, seeing her perform that live. Oh my God.
You saw her perform live?
I saw Sade perform back in 2000.
I want to be like Jay when I grow up.
2001, 2000, somewhere around there.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the Lovers Live tour. Oh, so good. I remember I told you, because I told you I didn't think that white people knew who Sade was, and I was very surprised. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, because you was like, they was out there deep.
I'm like, which concert are we going to?
Be like, no,
not
this
a
ain't Rolling
Sade.
Stones, bro. This is Sade.
Yeah, good.
Number 16. Again, I have to admit, I never heard the song. I had to look it up. The group is Yarborough and Peoples. The song is called Guilty. Does that even ring a bell? And it's cool if it doesn't, because like I said, I never heard the song before.
I would have to hear it, but no, I don't know.
I played it, and it didn't sound familiar at all. I'm familiar with Yarborough and Peoples because they made the song Don't Stop the Music, which I liked. But I can't remember a lot of songs from them. But Yarborough and Peoples was a male and female. I don't know if they were ever married or whatever, what the case may be. But the song's called Guilty. That came in at number 16. And if you're watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. You can see Jay trying to play and listen to it, see if it triggers something. Not trigger nothing. Yeah, same Jay.
Nope, but it got that 80s beat.
It does.
That one that you just swayed to. Yep.
It really does.
Never heard of it. I've never even heard. What other song did you say that they
Don't
sing?
Stop the Music.
Don't you stop it.
Exactly.
They sing that?
Yeah, that's
I never knew that's who that was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you heard that. I was going to say, I know you heard that before. Number 15. The Force MDs is the group. The song, Tender Love.
Yeah. I already knew as soon as you said that.
Listen.
Of course I know that song.
Man.
That was the jam, but I originally heard that watching Crush Groove.
Really?
That was
What
I
was
think
you doing
that's
watching
where I
Crush Groove at your
I
age,
should not
man?
have been watching it, but yeah. and especially when that part came on because that was during
Right.
a little sexy
Little
sex
love
scene.
scene. Yeah.
Sheila E. and Russell Simmons. But was that a true story or is kind of like a fabricated? Because it was about how Def Jam started.
It is loosely based on Russell Simmons' life.
So he did date. She dated Run and Russell.
I don't think so. At least I've never heard that. I've never heard that Russell Simmons and Run were into the same women. But I mean, given the creepy vibes that Russell Simmons has given us over the years.
Now,
now, so it kind of, even that image of that kind of stains it for me because of what I think of Russell Simmons now.
That's
I used
true.
to, I'll be honest, Russell Simmons was someone that I held in very high regard at one point in time of my life. Now I think he's a creep,
Yeah.
and, but that's neither here nor there. But I don't know that it's necessarily true. I think it was loosely based on his life, and maybe they probably fabricated or made things kind of jazzy for the movie. I'm guessing. I'm sure that if I'm wrong, somebody will tell me, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's where I knew the song from. And then I fell in love with the song. And then I think I remember the video. They were on a stoop outside.
Yep.
Okay. See, the little pieces will go into my head. But yeah, I love that song.
Did I ever tell you my tender love story?
What happened with that?
Well, I want to say when this song came out, maybe not when it came out, but I was in middle school, and this girl that I was liking, she had mentioned in class that she loved the song, and me being the dummy, I just blurted out, "Well, I can play that for you," and she was like, "For real?" She was like, "Play it on what?" I was like, "I can play it on the piano."
Oh,
And she was like, "For real?" And so she was like, "Well, call me tonight and play it on the piano for me." Now, keep in mind, we did have a piano in our house, but the problem was I couldn't play the piano, and there's no way I could play that song. But my cousin Mike could. And so when I got home, I was like, "Yo, Mike," I was like, and now keep in mind, Jay, she gave me her number. I didn't even ask for the number. She was like, "Here, you can call me tonight and play it for me." And so my cousin Mike, I knew he could play it, but the problem was he was someplace else, and it was taking him forever to get home. And I told her I was going to call it like 7:30 because that's macking hours for a young buck. so Mike don't get home to about 8. I'm like, "Yo, man, I need you to do me a favor. I was like, I told him what happened. He's like, "Man, I got you, cuz. I got you." And so I called, and she was like, so I'm talking to her on the phone and stuff. And Jay, looking back on it now, I could kind of tell like she wasn't even really trying to hear half the little game I was trying to spit. And so she was sitting there. She's like, "So when you gonna play Tender Love?"
right. Get to the point. Why you called me for a reason? I want to hear this song.
So I waved Mike in, took the phone, and this back we ain't had no cordless phone, so you had the cord with the long
Stretch
cord.
the cord. Yep.
So I had to bring the cord all the way in the room and stuff. And so I was like, "All right," I said, here you go, baby. And so Mike started playing. And so I could just hear her melting on the other end of the phone.
Oh my God.
And then so I told him, I was like, cut it. And so he stopped playing. I was like, "What you think about this?" She's like, "Oh my gosh." She's like, "That is so great." She's like, "Can you come to school tomorrow and play it on the piano at school?" No, I can't. I was like, "I'm never playing this again." And I rapped for probably about another 30 minutes.
Oh
But
my gosh.
never got no further than that. That was it. And shout out to her because I'm sure she's still listening to this podcast.
We used to do some corny stuff when we were young
Man,
with that phone,
listen.
man.
Oh my God. 3-way. We gotta have a conversation about the dumb shit we used to do like when we were kids. But yeah, I played Tender Love. Well, I didn't play Tender Love. My cousin Mike played Tender Love.
She thought you did. Did she tell everybody at school like, "Kyle played Tender Love on the phone for me"?
Oh man, I was like, man, you'd have thought I was Stevie Wonder around that thing. I heard you play Tender Love. You can play it. Like, I'm not playing it here at school. One, we don't have It was like, well, we got a piano in the band room. No, I'm not going.
No, I'm not ready. I don't want to do that.
So yeah, shout out to Tender Love, the Force MDs. Number 14, I'm pretty sure you've heard. This is by the Godfather of Soul, and the song is called "Living in America."
In America. That popped up in my head. Yep, I remember that.
Do you remember what that is
James
associated
Brown.
with? You remember what movie that's associated with? You might not remember the movie.
Live in America. Is it an Eddie Murphy movie?
Rocky
Living in
4.
America. Really?
Right. Well, obviously you didn't see Rocky 4, but Rocky
I never
4,
was that into. I saw 1 and 2, and then I
Okay.
gave up on Rocky.
Jay, you got to go watch number 3.
Wait,
That was Mr.
which
T.
one? Which one has Apollo in it?
Apollo's in 2, 3, and 4. Apollo dies in Rocky 4.
I don't. You know, I was young, so I probably did see them and didn't realize. I just remember him fighting the Russian or whatever
That's
he was.
the one where Apollo dies.
Okay, maybe I did see it.
Yeah, you had to have seen it. James Brown actually performs "Living in America" before Apollo comes out, and it's a whole production, and he's out there dancing, he's on the stage and all stuff like that. And he's playing "Living in America," and Apollo goes out there and gets killed, and it's all Rocky's fault. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I don't remember that at all.
yeah. Looking back on it, the song's kind of corny, but it's just the Godfather. You know what I'm saying?
So that song was made for Rocky, or it was just
part
one of his songs.
It
that
was one of the songs that was in it, and it was part of kind of like the theme of of that particular part of the movie. So I don't know necessarily if it was made for the movie, but it was part of the soundtrack. So I guess you could say it.
We used to listen to anything in the 80s, though. Because why
And
were
we
we
did.
jamming that? And I'm Black and I'm Proud.
Right.
They could never play that now.
Oh no.
It'd be too, quote unquote, woke for the people to
Well, I
play.
mean, they play everything else. I don't see why you couldn't play that.
I mean, we can, but what I'm
Yeah.
saying, it'd be a lot of complaints. Whereas back then, everything was acceptable.
For sure,
Pretty
for
much.
sure.
Yeah.
Next up, number 13, "When the Going Gets Tough."
The tough get going. That is Billy Ocean. Don't tell me I know that song. Hey, hey, hey. Doo, 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 doo. Doo, doo, doo. Yes. My man Billy. Go ahead. When it going gets rough. The tough get. That was from a movie too. Was it War of the Roses? What was the name of that movie?
I cannot remember.
It was on the soundtrack.
It was on the movie soundtrack, yes. Mm-hmm. Ladies
You
and
knew I was
gentlemen,
gonna get that. You over there
JBoog,
dying.
if you missed the other episodes, she is one of the biggest Billy Ocean fans this side of Tanya from Everybody Hates Chris.
That was my husband when I was a
Listen, I busted
Young
out
child.
laughing when I saw this on here. I was like, "Oh, we gonna crack up about this."
Yep.
I ain't even had to say the artist. "When the Going Gets Tough" by Billy Ocean. Number 12. This was the first time I heard this guy rap. James Todd Smith, aka LL Cool J. "I Can't Live Without My Radio."
That was on Crush Groove too.
There you go. That was his introduction. Crush Groove.
I never I didn't really like that song. I liked I'm Bad, but I remember this song because of Crush Groove, because that's how he got signed. Well, that's how he got signed on that movie. I don't know if that's what happened in real life, but I remember that.
It was supposed to be a facsimile of what happened in real life. Def Jam was starting out, and LL was their first artist, and so it was kind of art imitating life to some degree. But yeah, that was the joint. That was my first time I saw LL. He was lip syncing his ass off in the
Oh, yeah.
in the movie.
He was. He couldn't even match his lips up to the way. It's like,
Right,
come on, L,
right.
that's your song.
But yeah, shout out to Uncle L, man. That takes me way back, like you said, Crush Groove. Number 11, I think you probably know this. Lionel Richie, "Say You, Say Me."
Say you,
You remember
say
that?
me,
Oh wow.
say it together.
I didn't like this song though for some reason.
Naturally. Yeah, it was one of those sad songs. I had a
Yeah.
dream. It was like about it was a dedication to Marvin Gaye. Wasn't it?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh no, the Commodores was
me
the
You think about
on
Night
the-
Shift?
Night Shift.
Yeah.
That was it. But Lionel's from Commodores, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's why I got it mixed up. But no, I remember Say You, Say Me. I was a big Lionel Richie fan back then too. Not as much as Billy though.
Not as much as Billy. Yeah, "Say You, Say Me." Wow. Okay.
But I
Yeah.
think it was like one of those socially conscious songs because I kind of remember I had a dream, something, something. I don't remember all the words
I
right
had a
now.
dream.
But
I had an awesome dream. People playing in the park, playing games in the dark. And when they play, and what they played was a masquerade, and far behind the walls of doubt, a voice was crying out, "Say you, say me, say it for always. That's the way it should be. Say you, say me, say it together naturally."
naturally.
Yeah, he was this was a hit too because this topped the Billboard charts when it dropped. Yeah, but I never really was a fan of this, but it was a joint.
I would jam it.
So yeah, you actually did pretty well, Jay. You knew most of the songs. I'm surprised. I'm
Except for
pleasantly
one.
surprised. Yeah, exactly. I didn't have you know in the Super Bowl shuffle. That was but you got every other one with the exception of Bobby Bland. You got them all. But yeah, it's time to take a quick commercial break. On the other side of the break, we'll go through number 10 through number 1. I'm gonna venture to say that Jay knows probably all of these. Sit tight. We'll be back in just a second. Are you feeling nostalgic for the golden eras of rap and soul music? If so, tune in to the Rap Soul Podcast. We are your weekly journey through the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, spotlighting the music and the hidden gems that shaped the soundtrack of our lives. From the powerful beats to the soulful melodies, we bring you the best of the past with fresh insights and stories. Rediscover the music that defined a generation. Subscribe to the Rap Soul Podcast and enjoy the vibes. And just like that, we are back. Once again, it's your boy 12 Kyle. This is the Rap Soul Podcast, and I got my girl JBoog in the building, and we're talking about Jet singles. In case you haven't Googled it, we're not going to disclose the year so far, but thus far in the first part, we talked about songs 20 through 11, and now we're going to bring it home, songs 10 through 1. Again, Jay does not know any of these songs, but I'm testing to see if she knows. I'm going to venture to say these next 10, she will probably know at least 8 of them. So let's start with number 10. Number 10, I'm not really sure if she remembers this, but this was a jam. I do remember this joint. The group is 5 Star. The song, Let Me Be the One. Do you remember that?
5 Star.
5 Star.
Let me be the one.
The one you give your love to.
I don't think I've heard of that.
I think when you play it, you will remember it. 5 Star was a British pop group. They were formed in 1983, and they're all siblings. Stedman, Lorraine, Denise, Doris, and Delroy Pearson. They're from the UK. This is the only song that they made that I remember. But when you hear it, you're going to hear a true 80s song. It was a jam. I want to say it was in the top 20 on the charts. I don't remember anything else that they put out. I looked at some of the other stuff listed as far as songs that they came out with. I don't remember any of them. But Let Me Be the One is truly a 80s vibe.
It is. It feels very 80s. Yeah.
Now, this next song is by an artist that we both know and love, but I had to look up the video to remember this song. Number 9 is the great Stevie Wonder. The song is called Go Home. You remember Go Home?
Stevie Wonder, Go Home. Go Home. Nope, I'm going to have to listen to it. I don't think, it doesn't ring a bell.
I'll do you one better. When you get a chance, probably when we finish recording, look at the video. The video is like based on some like Miami Vice type, there's this lady who's supposed to be a spy and Stevie's in the street singing. And then there's a shootout, there's a gunfight. And the detective in the video is my man actor who just passed away last week. Old guy, I can't remember his name. But when you see him, you be like, oh man, I remember him. Yeah, he passed away. But yeah, the video is kind of wild. I watching and again, I don't remember the song, so I played it for myself probably about 10 minutes before we started recording. Not one of Stevie's biggest hits. I'll put it like that.
I mean, it was top 10.
Yeah, I mean, it was top 10. So it's number 9, but not really one of my favorites from Stevie.
Yeah, I've never heard. I just listened to it. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Just you probably do better if you watch the video because you'll laugh at the video. You'll wonder why a blind Stevie Wonder's talking to hookers in the street.
Again, that was the 80s. Anything goes.
Right. It is, and it's a Miami Vice theme. Number 8, former member of The Time, my man Morris Day. Number 8, the song is called Color of Success. Do you remember Color of Success?
Now, I will say Morris Day, I did not listen to a lot of his stuff.
Okay.
Like, I would probably hear it and not know it was him. Because I got him confused a lot of times. But I can't say, I would have to listen to it to say if I've heard that or not. Color of Success, I haven't.
I remember this because of the chorus. He said, it's the color of success. I play to win. Morris was talking about the ladies. I played to win. I grew up a fan. First and foremost, a huge fan of Prince. Prince, probably my favorite artist of all time. And subsequently, when Purple Rain came out, Morris Day was, supposed to be his adversary or whatever like that. And, a lot of us didn't like Morris Day, but I like Morris Day. I thought Morris was cool. Him and Jerome, how they would do their little thing on stage and stuff like that. But Color of Success was part of the solo push that Morris Day had. And, a little bit, I don't want to say a little bit, but a lot of the success that he had post Purple Rain movie. But Morris he did his thing. He did his thing. He was fun. The ladies loved Morris and by and large, I don't think I realized probably until I got older how talented that cat was, or still is, I should say, because he's still doing it. But yeah, Color of Success is number 8. Number 7, I know Whitney Houston, How Will I Know?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
What do you remember most about that song?
That I just would get so excited when that song came on the radio. It was like the theme song for whoever I was liking at that time. Like,
Jay, you was like 5 years old.
Hey, I pulled them early. What can I say?
Little fast ass.
But yeah, how will I? Well, no, I was older than that. I was older.
Yeah,
but yeah. Especially How Will I Know? Do 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 do. Oh yeah, there's a boy, and that'll be me. I know someone I dream of, and I'll be dreaming of whoever it was that, like I said, I was liking at the time. But yeah, I love me some Whitney Houston. I talked about that earlier in that other episode. From anything from when she first dropped You Give Good Love, which I shouldn't have been listening to, till, all the way through I'm Your Baby Tonight and to It's Not Right, But It's Okay. But anything Whitney dropped, I love. But How Will I Know was one of those songs that got me like excited for whatever this daydream I have of this guy. It was that and Let's Hear It for the Boy were my 2 songs. And I was just like, yes. This is it.
Okay, who was Let's Hear It for the Boy? Was that Denise Williams?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
I remember that. And she was cute, too.
I don't remember her. I remember her as a gospel artist because we can only listen to gospel.
Wait a minute,
you didn't know she was a gospel
music?
Yeah.
Really?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
That's how I knew who she was. This was after she did like Silly and like Black Butterfly. Like after that, she did gospel. But I can only hear her during gospel. But then when I started learning about her, then I heard Free and Black Butterfly, and I always knew Let's Hear It for the Boy because that was off Footloose.
Yep.
So, but I recognized the voice. But yeah.
Yeah, Footloose. Oh man, you took me way back with that.
But Whitney, yeah.
I agree with you. Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston's one of those people that, again, you hear her music and her music and her voice is so full and it's so alive. Like you don't really think that she's no longer here. Like because her music, and it doesn't sound dated. You can go listen to stuff off her first album, like we talked about on the previous episode, and it's just as good. And it sounds just as clear and just as clean as before. And but yeah, this song right here, How Will I Know? It's a feel good. It's really a feel good song that really just kind of, like you said, it gets you excited. And Whitney, she had a lot of those. And I don't think people give her enough credit for, because people, oh, she's pop. Listen, once she could sing her face off. She could sing better than almost like 99% of people. She was the premier voice of our generation. I don't think that's a stretch to say. I think if you want to talk about voices, maybe Aretha had a better voice. Maybe Aretha in her prime. Maybe, I don't know. If it's Whitney or if it's Aretha, that's, you can flip a coin.
Yeah, I think it's a different. I consider Aretha before her. Mm-hmm. Like that's a different generation. When you talk about Whitney, she held that for
a long.
It was her and Janet, but obviously Whitney had the better. Like she was a powerhouse singer.
Yes, she was much better. That's singer.
Yeah,
Janet had her on her performance.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Now, where would you put Mariah in those three?
It's crazy because Mariah came later, but it's crazy because how Whitney and then still Janet's career kept going. Mm-hmm. It's like a Beyonce. Like you're like, okay, y'all, it's been 30 years, girl. Like, give us a break. You know what I'm saying? Like Janet was still going. She ran the 80s, she ran the 90s, she ran 2000. Like she's still going. So it's funny to talk about Mariah, but she's not necessarily in that same class, but because they were still making music during that time, they became kind of peers, especially Mariah and Whitney. I would do Whitney, Mariah, and Janet as far as vocals.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Janet didn't have a shabby voice, but I'm into like powerhouse singers, belters. The song that Whitney and Mariah did together for the Prince of Egypt soundtrack. What is it called? There Can Be Miracles. I think it's something like that. Oh, that was gold. Them two together on a song. Oof.
So
crazy.
Okay, so let's sidebar real quick. So where do you stand with the whole? There's been some discussion, after Beyonce's performance at the time of this recording, this past Christmas, Beyonce performed at halftime of an NFL game, and I think they might have given her as much time as you get at the Super Bowl to perform. I saw a lot of, for what it's worth, a lot of chatter on social media that, Beyonce was this, grandiose performer, and she was way better. If you had to compare it with Janet, and I know you've seen Janet perform, who's better as far as performing? Or is there any comparison? Can you compare the two?
There's no comparison to me. I mean, I think Beyonce puts a lot of work into what she does, and again, it's generational. It's just because Janet is still doing it that you think that that's her peer. Janet is not Beyonce's peer. Like Janet is over here and Beyonce's over here. It's just that their careers are overlapping at this time, and at this point, people will say Beyonce over Janet. I mean, Janet is 60 or almost 60 if she's not 60, and Beyonce's 42 or 3 or something like that. Of course, she might put on a better show than Janet. But me being at Janet's shows and seeing her concerts and watching them as I was growing up, there is two different generations. I do think Beyonce is probably the best performer that this generation has seen. And she's going to have longevity. Yeah. So, I mean, I can see her having that longevity like Janet, still performing at 56 or almost 60 and still doing okay, because their songs, some of their songs are very timeless, and Beyonce is another singer that if she takes care of her voice, she can just be sitting there singing. She can be like a Sade where you don't need any background, you don't need anybody, you just sit there and sing your songs. Or she has a catalog where Janet, she performs 10% of her songs. You know what I'm saying? We sit there for 2.5 hours just listening to that. She hasn't even tapped into other stuff. She can sit there and do Control, or she can sit there and do Rhythm Nation, or she can sit there and do the Janet album, and we would be entertained for 2.5 hours, and that's not even a percentage or a fraction of the songs that she has to give us because her catalog is so big. So I'm not going to say Beyonce is the better, because they'll compare her to Michael too. Like, who's the best performer, Beyonce or Michael? I don't like doing that. Michael is the greatest of all time at what he did while he was here. And I would say I love Beyonce, but I wouldn't put her above Michael, because I ain't seen nobody passed out being carted out. When Michael came out, people would die. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, like, they would literally have to lift them up, and fans will be passing people back because they will literally pass out. Or he would just stand there for 2 minutes and people are just fainting and screaming. I ain't seen that happen with nobody else. So until that happens, Michael is the best. I mean, and I'm from that generation. So
of course.
People didn't see that. People don't know. So I would say it's a generational thing. To me, Michael is it. But I can see Beyonce now in this generation, she's it for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see anybody better doing anything better than what she's doing right now.
That's a great perspective. I gotta agree 1,000%. Like, Mike, you're right. Mike, we saw Mike stand on stage, didn't say a word, didn't move, and for 2 minutes straight, people passed the hell out.
Yes.
I mean, like, people coming to get you on the stretcher, they passing your body, crowd surfing.
We're not making this up, y'all. Google it or look it up. I'm sure they have it on YouTube.
Oh,
like,
it's everywhere.
People would literally pass out just by looking at
him. He ain't said a word yet. He ain't grabbed his crotch.
Right.
He ain't spun around.
He ain't said
he ain't done the moonwalk yet. He hadn't said a word, and you passed out after 2 minutes. Until we can get back to that, I love Beyonce. I'm a big fan. I'm not as knowledgeable about her music, but I respect and love her hustle. Mm-hmm. And I think people don't talk enough about, how she's built herself into being this hustler and this brand and this powerhouse that she is. And, she's in a lot of rooms now, I think, that, men are honestly intimidated by. And
being a woman. That's something that she's kind of breaking barriers.
Being a black woman, because
people want to tell you what to do, and she's like, no.
And I don't think that she gets the same, in some of these rooms, I don't think she gets the same credit or pushback that, her counterparts like Swift Taylor does. So
why do you always call her that?
Swift Taylor, man. But yeah, I had to ask you that because and last thing on Janet's still fine. So
Janet has been. Have you seen her lately? Yeah. Janet and slimmed up again. Look, she showed us a little skin this last concert. Like, I'm sad because this is going to be the first show I'm going to miss in like 5 years straight. Wow. That I've seen her, but money's tight, Janet. I'm sorry, I just can't. I can't make it to Vegas this time. And she's only doing 10 shows, so it wasn't enough time for me to like get the ticket. But last show she did, what song did she do? I forgot what song it was that she did, but I said, Janet showing us some skin again. Wait a minute, what's going on? But Janet still got it. She still got it. She did the If choreography. She was like getting down. I was like, okay, Janet, who moving like this at 50?
Easy to do at 60 years old.
Yeah, 50, whatever she is, 58, 59, something like that. But
she's still, like I said, still fine. I don't care what nobody says. She's still fine. Right. Back to the list, number 6. Mm-hmm. The group is called Ready for the World. The song is called Digital Display. Mm-hmm. You remember that?
Mm-hmm. I do.
This was a dope group, a dope song. I remember this. Of course, Ready for the World gave you Oh Sheila. There was dudes. There were probably about 5 or 6 of them. They were a band. Everybody had Jerry curls. Wet.
And it was, if it wasn't wet, I didn't like it. That's what made it sexy. You had to have that activator in there.
I never had it. I actually wanted a Jerry curl, but my mom, she was like,
me too. And my mom would let me. I did.
Yeah, my mom was like, "Nah, player, you ain't get no Jerry." And I'm glad she. Thank you.
Both of my cousins had one. I was like, I want one so bad, but
And almost everybody I know that had a Jerry curl back in the 80s is bald now.
You know what? My cousin, she does not have any hair.
See, see, you know, our parents trying to tell us something. See, I mean, it's nothing against being bald, but nah, and everybody's head not shaped right to be bald. So
that's true.
Yeah, so you know, if you was one of Jerry's kids in the 80s and the 90s, and you're bald now, you know, it might be because of the chemicals. You just never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ready for the World came in at number 6. Number 5, Your Smile by Renee and Angela. You remember that?
Wimbush.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. I don't remember how it goes, but I remember that little bit of Your Smile. Yes. I remember them.
Angela Wimbush is another slept on singer. Oh my gosh. She's
good.
Is so good, so underrated. Just never really got the huge commercial success that she probably should have deserved. But I love this song. This song was on quite a few slow jam tapes. This next song definitely was on every slow jam tape, and that was Zap, number 4, Computer Love.
Computer Love. Now, this brings back several memories.
Okay.
So, for whatever reason, my senior year in high school, we were so into Zap. And
Really?
it was like we made a senior tape because we didn't have a yearbook that year. So the soundtrack, like the music we played, was More Bounce to the Ounce, Computer Love, like all those Zap. I'm like, why were we jamming to that as teenagers? Like those songs were old. But Computer Love, I remember it from, they had it on Minister Society. But we had a talent show that, again, for whatever reason, it was just popular in our school. Somebody was slow dancing. They did a dance to Computer Love. So that always sticks in my head because it was these two guys that did a duo, freaky dancing, not with each other, but like freaky dancing on stage to Computer Love.
I was about to say 2 guys dancing together. That's nasty work.
But they were like
in the
side
80s.
by side, but like humping the stage and
Gotcha,
stuff
gotcha.
and the girls was like, woo, you know.
Wow.
But yeah, I remember that. I remember growing up not knowing Roger Troutman was the main guy, right?
Yep. He's the
Zap
leader of
was
Zap. Roger and Zap. That's what they used to call them.
Zap was what? Was that the band or Zap
was the band.
Okay, because I always thought Zap was that noise, like the person, the computer
that was
noise.
Roger was.
I know he did it.
Yeah,
he did that.
auto-tune before it was auto-tune.
Yeah, I forget what they call that. There's a guy, that's in a band right now. What is their name? Brothers. Oh, I can't remember their name, but I saw them live. They were performing before Jay Nova was coming up, but he uses that thing.
Okay.
And so he plays, like, I follow him on Instagram and he plays songs using that. I forget what it's called, but he uses it a lot.
It's called. So I'd have to look it up, but it's and Roger was ahead of his time because again, this is the 80s.
Yeah.
I always tell this story about this particular song. I remember playing this I must have been in like 8th grade, loving the song. But it wasn't until like maybe about 5 years ago that I realized that at the end of the song that's Charlie Wilson. Like I never made the connection that was, and I've heard the song gazillion times. One day I was just listening to it, I was like, because on the song it just says Zap featuring Roger Troutman, and where it says Roger Troutman and Gap, you know, Zap, and it says Computer Love. It doesn't say Charlie Wilson. So I'm listening to it, I was like, man, that sounds like Charlie Wilson. And I was like, duh, that is Charlie Wilson.
And I didn't know that until well later.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because don't the kids at home, I mean, like, we didn't have Google, so if you didn't actually buy the record or buy the tape, you had no way of knowing unless somebody mentioned it on the radio. You just kind of went with the flow.
Because he wasn't even in the video.
No, he wasn't at all.
Yeah.
So, number 3, Melissa Morgan, Do Me Baby.
Do me, no, that's Prince.
It's the same song.
Oh, it is?
Yes. She covered Prince. Yeah, she covered Prince's song.
Oh, okay. I know Prince's version. I don't know if I've heard. No, I've probably heard her version. Yeah.
You've heard.
I heard it.
I'm
I've
almost
heard it.
positive you've heard both versions. Because Because Prince's version, I think, was 78, 79, something like
Oh
that.
yeah, I had to have heard hers.
And then she's in the 80s. Melissa Morgan, another young lady who was dope in the 80s and the early 90s. I don't really know what happened to her career after that. And forgive me, she may still be making music. I don't know that she is. I'm partial to Prince's version, but she got a dope version too. And this made the Jet singles charts to number 3. All right, so here we are.
Yeah, I've heard her version
yeah,
for sure.
I told you you heard it. I told you you heard it. This one I know you know. Dionne Warwick and Friends at number 2. That's what friends are for.
Oh yeah. My favorite part was Stevie.
Wasn't this behind like AIDS awareness or something like that?
It was. It was after We Are the World.
Okay.
Remember they did that, and then it was just it was Dionne Warwick. Don't tell me. It was Dionne Warwick, Patti LaBelle, Stevie Wonder, and was it Michael McDonald? It was some white guy. Billy Joel.
You got me. I don't remember. I remember the song, but I don't remember who all was.
Or was it just 4 of them? Let me see if I can look it up.
That always count on me for sure. That's what friends are for. In good times, in bad times. Yeah. But I can't remember. I remember Dionne Warwick. I don't remember anybody else. I don't remember anybody else in this song. I'm pretty sure if I played it.
Gladys Knight. That's who it is.
Okay.
Gladys Knight.
So it's Gladys, Dionne Warwick, and who else? Stevie.
Let me
So
see.
who's the white man?
I'm trying to think the white. Oh, Elton John, not Billy Joel.
Oh,
Elton John.
The other white guy.
The other white guy.
Sir
That's
Elton
who it
John.
was. It was just them 4.
Okay.
Dionne, Stevie, Gladys, and
Elton John.
Elton
Okay.
John.
Hell
Oops.
of a lot. Yeah.
I don't mean to be
if I'm
playing
not
that
mistaken,
on
it was
here.
for AIDS awareness. If I'm not
My
mistaken.
bad. Don't flag
it's
him. My
good.
bad.
No, it's
Okay.
good. You good. No, they're not even gonna hear that. they won't even hear it.
I forgot I didn't have it on mute. But yeah, I used to love that song.
Yeah, that was a dope song. And then last but not least, coming in at number 1, another, as Jay and I put it one time, side chick anthem, Atlantic Star, Secret Lovers.
Oh, Secret Lovers.
That's what we are.
Yeah, that's what we are. Oh, yeah. We used to sing this to people that used to cheat on their girlfriends and boyfriends when we were in school.
We shouldn't be together, but we can't let go because what we feel is oh so real.
So real.
Listen,
so real.
We had no business singing this song in the 7th grade.
Oh, so
I think I was in 8th grade, I
real.
think.
I was
Crazy,
in
right?
elementary, I'm sure.
I was
Probably
in like
younger
8th
than that.
grade, I think. I'm almost certain I was in 8th grade when the song came out because it was on the dedication hour. And I remember hearing it on the radio in my hometown of Florence, South Carolina. Shout out to all of y'all who dedicated this cheating song to other people.
We didn't
and they
know.
were dedicating like it was their song. Like, this is our love
Right.
song. It can't be your love song.
Not
y'all out
even
here
realizing
cheating.
what it is. Yeah. Secret Love. Oh, man, we used to tear that song up. I remember that.
I love Atlantic Star. Shout out to Barbara Weathers. Barbara
Oh,
Weathers,
man.
she was the lead singer in Atlantic Star when I was coming up. I had a
Okay.
huge crush on her. Oh my God.
What's the song that I know they did Always and Forever? Didn't they? No, that wasn't Atlantic Star.
Always. That was always.
Always. Was it
If your heart isn't in it,
da, 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 and I da, 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 da,
that's
da,
always. That's always.
for all. So what's the other song I'm thinking about? Always and Forever.
That's
Who sung
That's
that?
a different group. That
Wasn't okay.
I think that's Heat Wave. I think
Heat Wave. That's what it is. Yeah. Okay.
but yeah,
Yeah,
they
but I
did-
liked Atlantic Star.
they had another joint that I loved. If your heart isn't in it,
If your heart isn't in it, da, 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 da,
I like,
da, da. Yeah, I
go
remember
watch that video. That video is so dope. That video is so dope. 2 brothers fighting over Barbara Weathers. I don't even know where Barbara Weathers is. She's probably like in her 70s right now. But she's
Was
still,
she always the lead singer?
for that time? Yeah, I think.
Oh.
I think years later, I think in the early 2000s, I think they replaced her with somebody else, but I don't think nobody was really checking for them at that point.
Okay.
Or maybe I wasn't checking for them at that point. But yeah, as far as I know, she's always been the lead singer.
Okay.
But yeah, I love Atlantic Star. They had some smokers, so I wasn't surprised to see that they landed at the number 1 spot. So without looking it up, Jay, can you guess as to what year this was that all of these songs came out?
It had to be early 80s because you had Sade with Taboo. And I don't know, Bobby Blue Bland had been around for a while. It's like having Johnny Walker.
Right. That threw me off for real.
New Edition. I'm going to say it's between... Is it 80s? Is it 86? 80? It's between like 80. When did Sade come out with that? I'm going to say like 84 or 86, like somewhere in there.
Close.
What is it?
85.
5.
1985.
Okay. I was close. Yeah.
And for those of you who are wondering, Barbara Weathers is 61 years old.
Oh, she's not even that old.
No, she just turned 61. She still look good.
Okay.
And she's a Sagittarius. Shout out to Barbara.
Hey, Barbara, this is Shirley.
You stupid. I just caught that.
That was
What
another
song was that?
Woman to woman.
Oh, woman to woman. Oh, Liz, we gonna have to do an episode about.
We have
these,
to.
Oh my gosh, these side chick. These.
Well, that was the one saying, I know you sleeping with my man. You're going to have to fight me for him.
I'm gonna meet
Shirley.
you in the street. Shirley was not playing.
Was she talking to Shirley Murdoch? Is that where that came from?
At this point, I don't know. Jay, it's and here's the thing: if it wasn't for shows like Behind the Music or Uncensored and stuff like that, there's a whole lot of backstories and back channels of people who had relationships and stuff like that we didn't know about. Like I would have never known that Janet Jackson had any dealings with Bobby Brown back in the day. But I mean, like we find this stuff out, because the difference was, full disclosure, folks, we didn't have the internet. So, and then really and truly, we didn't care. Like, so it didn't matter. So it's not like now where if you're spotted on the red carpet with somebody, you're automatically seeing them, or if you get pregnant, everybody knows who your baby daddy is, and all that kind of stuff like that. So
we had like some rumor people like Wendy Williams, but you didn't know whether to believe her or not.
Exactly.
But Jamie Foster Brown with Sister Magazine. Sometimes you hear stuff like that, and but yeah, we didn't know unless they actually told you.
Yep. So, according to this, now I'm listening. I'm talking to Jay, and I'm looking up Barbara Weathers. Barbara Weathers is still a member of Atlantic Star.
Oh, okay. So that was her. You tried to kick her out of the group.
Yeah, my bad, Barbara. I knew you watching. My bad. So yeah, it was 1985. So you weren't far off. I think you did a great job because one, it's not easy to go through these songs and not be privy to a list. I'll be honest. If I had just looked at it, I would have guessed 85 only because I know the Super Bowl Shuffle came out in 85. That's the only way I would have figured it out, because that's the year that the Bears won the Super Bowl. But other than that, there's nothing. I mean, you would have to be like an LL fan to know that I Can't Live Without My Radio came out in 85 because that was his introduction to us. Everything else on here, I mean, it's a crapshoot. I would have guessed Secret Lovers was 86, 87. That's what Friends Are For. You're right. You mentioned, what was it? We Are the World. What year was We Are the World? Was that 84?
I feel like it came out before that.
Okay.
Because I always felt like We Are the
82.
World was like the white people's song, and that's what Friends Were For, was the black people, because I didn't know Elton John was white, like, because I hadn't seen the video. I didn't know. I thought he was, it was all black people sing, because I hadn't seen him.
Oh, okay,
just going off of listening to him, I was like, oh, okay, this is the black version of We Are the World, is Dion and Friends.
No, Elton John,
but yeah.
He
had the blue eyes. He had the blue eyes soul, though.
Yeah, I mean, no, he got, and Elton John got smokers. Don't get me twisted, but no, he ain't.
I didn't know it until I saw it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Like, who's this white
Elton
man?
John.
They
Yeah.
didn't let this white man on this video.
It's like that one guy, what's his name? Bobby
Bobby
the one-
Caldwell.
yeah, I didn't know. I
Listen.
didn't know he was white until my adult life because I had never seen him before.
Anybody knew probably until like I didn't know until like maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah, same
Like
for me.
5 years ago. Like I've been singing "What You Want to Do for Love" all my life, and he sounded black to me. I didn't know that man was white.
Yeah.
Some people didn't realize he was white until he passed away.
Yeah,
And
that's
they
crazy.
put his picture up on the screen. So, but no, good job, Jay. Well, great
80s
job,
is my
actually.
decade. Like I love 80s music. I told you that. So
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I usually
And I think
can get some of it.
if we do another one and I get like the late 80s, early 90s, you'll probably know all of them. Like I said, you did a great job because that members only song from Bobby Bland, I never heard before. I had to play it for myself.
I did better on the first group than I did on the second group though, because I didn't know the first three. I didn't know those.
Well, those are kind of, the Stevie joint is hit or miss. I had to look it up. I heard it, but it was, like I said, the video, if you watch the video, you're like, wait a minute. What era this was for Stevie? Because this was like, Stevie's on his way out music era. Let Me Be the One was a jam. Color of Success. Like I said, I happen to be a Morris Day fan, so I paid attention to that. But all in all, you did a great job. Again, if people don't understand, it's not easy to field questions and be asked questions about music when it's on the fly. And again, Jay did a great job. Got to thank you for coming through, Jay, again for your second time on the Rap Soul podcast.
Second time, guys.
Before we get out of here, tell folks where they can find you, where they can check out your podcast.
You can find me on YouTube at JSpot Network, youtube.com/@ JSpot Network. You'll find me there. I'm on Twitter at J's Quick 3 Pod, POD. I'm on Blue Sky at JSpot Network .bsky.social. And I'm on TikTok, but I forgot my name on TikTok. But
I think you Jay's Quick 3 on TikTok.
I may be. Okay, Jay's Quick 3. But I am in the process I've been in the process now for about like 5 months of changing my podcast over from Jay's Quick 3. I just don't want to pay any more money. Like I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my old episodes without losing them. But changing the name at the same time. So I'm figuring that out. I don't have a name for the new podcast. So just like I told Britt on her podcast, I will just be releasing random episodes under the name Jay's Quick 3, and we're going to figure out what the name's going to be later. Because as long as I have stuff that I want to put out, I don't want to keep delaying it. So I'll just put it out. You can catch me live once a week on the J-Spot Network as I'm talking about women's basketball. Right now, we are in the thick of college women's basketball. Right now, it's conference play, which happens right before March Madness. So it's a lot of good games going on right now. I'll be talking about those. I'll be talking about Unrivaled, and then we go right into the WNBA. So, I mean, women's basketball is now 365 days of the year. So I got a lot to talk about. So check me out if you're into sports. And also, I will be dropping a Patreon because I can't monetize my YouTube right now because of music. But I'm going to drop a Patreon where I can be more free to play music and do things and put some of my other episodes that I had where I do my video reactions, my music reviews, stuff like that, rewatching games. I'll put all that on my Patreon. So if you want to get in for a good, what does Kyle say, for the low price?
Low.
Get in now. First 50 people. I think I'm doing like as low as I can go. I think it's like $1. Okay. If you want to join my Patreon and just check out what I'll be doing there. I'm doing live streams over there as well, but I will drop that pretty soon. I don't know when this episode comes out, but maybe by the time this comes out, I'll have it live. So check me out at the J-Spot Network and come kick it with your girl.
For sure. Yeah, whenever you do it, I'll make sure that I promote it on here as well. You guys have been here, so you know what it is. The Rap Soul podcast drop every Monday at midnight. Don't forget about the flagship station, the 12 Kyle podcast. Those episodes drop every Thursday and Sunday at midnight. The Rap Soul, you can find us all across social media, Rap Soul Podcast on Twitter X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and TikTok. And if you'd like to contribute to the podcast, you can hit us up on Cash App, $TWELVEKYLE. We also have a YouTube channel as well. You can leave comments there as well. And like I said, this is a part of a new movement that we have with the Rap Soul Podcast. So if you know anybody that is a lover of music, send this podcast to them. Let them check it out. We talk about rap. We talk about soul music from the 80s, 90s, and the 2000s. Again, this is the best music podcast that you've never heard until now. Again, I am your boy 12 Kyle from my girl JBoog. This has been another edition of the Rap Soul Podcast talking about the Jet singles. Matter of fact, go Google some. You can check out some music as well, and check out the music that we talked about on this episode. That's going to do it for us. We'll catch you next time. 5,000. Cheers.
Thank you for listening. This concludes the episode. Be sure to subscribe to the Rap Soul Podcast. You can find the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Follow the podcast on social media. And feel free to continue this discussion on our Reddit page. More importantly, share this podcast with a friend or family member who loves music as much as you do. Until next time, 5,000.